Welcome to the All Four Downs podcast. I'm your host, Ovi Muniz, and with college football season on the horizon, preseason rankings are rolling in. We have the coaches poll, and I'm going to do some comparison with my top 25. There's so much going on within the SEC and the Big Ten. Who's better than who? But I'm going to just break it down, at least the top five of each, just to get a clear vision of what's expected coming up in our football season. And not only that, but also an outlook of who are going to be my top two teams possibly going for their conference championships and the first 4 weeks of the games of the week. You got that and much, much more. So stay tuned with me as I begin along with First Down. It's the top 25, and right now, this week, the coaches poll was out. They got Texas ranked number 1, Ohio State, Penn State, Georgia, and Notre Dame filling in the top 5. As for myself, I still picking Oregon to be number 1. Yeah, call me crazy, man. Yes, indeed. And here's why. All right, zooming in closely real quick on the top 10. But for Texas, look, Steve Sarkisian, one of the best head coaches, awesome offensive coordinator. You got the total package there. All his staff is still there, okay? And he is 6 wins better than Tom Herman, which he had replaced as the head coach of the Texas Longhorns. Second year being in the SEC and already expected to be the SEC champions? I'm sorry. I got news for everyone. Texas will not win the SEC this year. I'm sorry. It's not going to happen. All right? Their schedule is in the month of November is going to catch up with the Longhorns. Okay? Quarterback Arch Manning is expected to be the starting quarterback. Yes, they say it's a big difference because he's a dual threat, but even if that, I mean, you got running back Wisner, who was, maybe he's up the game now. He's going to be the starter, but Jaden Blue was the dude that was running and getting all the touchdowns, rushing all the touchdowns, right? He went to the Dallas Cowboys. Their star wide receiver Golden, he went to the Green Bay Packers. So who else is going to step up for the Texas Longhorns? Look, Texas is going to be talented, and I get it. But when it comes to close games and ranked teams, I just don't think Texas still don't have what it takes, okay? Yes, with the new college football format, they got in, but they also saw themselves out. Just saying. Moving on to Ohio State. Okay, ranked number 2 in the coaches poll, but I got Ohio State at ranked number 6. Look, they lost a lot of key players in that team, okay? I got to take that into consideration. And on top of that, their defensive coordinator left to Penn State. What does that mean? You went from the same conference, from Ohio State, you jumped ship to Penn State? What's going on there? What's going on with the Ohio State Buckeyes? Everyone's keeping things on a hush-hush, all right? And then you went ahead and hired Matt Patricia? Let me tell you something. Matt Patricia was only good with Bill Belichick. Other than that, he hasn't succeeded anywhere else. I mean, look, he even got fired as a head coach of the Detroit Lions. And then on top of that, he was a defensive coordinator for the Eagles, which he replaced somebody else. And yet the team was garbage under him. They had to replace him. That was the year that the Eagles, man, they just went on a losing streak big times, right? And now without him, the Eagles ended up winning the Super Bowl. How about that? Just saying. The offense has a new look for Ohio State. I mean, who's the starting quarterback? Is it Sayan or is it Keenholz? I'm telling you right now, I predict Sayan's going to be the starting quarterback for Ohio State. And on top of that, Ohio State and Texas play in week 1. That's not looking good for the Buckeyes. And, of course, they do got to play Michigan, which, by the way, can they even beat Michigan Wolverines? And yet we're going to consider them at number 2? I think right now we need to start focusing on other teams in the Big Ten because I got a feeling they're just going to be that good. Let's move on to Penn State, okay? New defensive coordinator, came from Ohio State. This defensive coordinator is not only than Jim knows, and he does know how to play defense. Always have their team ranked in the top 10. Matter of fact, closer to being number 1. So if he could tweak things around in Penn State, I think the Nittany Lions are going to be outstanding. But James Franklin, I mean, he's been decades with the Penn State, right? And he hasn't done much. Okay. Yeah, Drew Aller is going to be returning as a starting quarterback. I do foresee maybe Penn State really stepping up their game, but do they have what it takes to win? Okay. They're not playing Michigan. The only game really that's challenging is Ohio State. And if they could get by Ohio State, I think Penn State is going to be probably maybe the number one team in the nation. But, I mean, you got to prove to me that you could beat Ohio State. All right, Franklin got a losing streak with them. And then not playing Michigan, possibly going to play in the Big Ten Conference Championship, maybe? Ooh, I don't know. I'm just saying. James Franklin had the best season in 2022 when he went 11-2, winning the Rose Bowl. But other than that, if it wasn't for the college format, we wouldn't be talking about Penn State making it to the playoffs, let alone being in the championship. Georgia, my number 2. Okay, let's check this out real quick, right? The wide receivers that were dropping so many passes. Well, only one remains, okay? And that's London Humphreys, who is now the backup wide receiver. And if I'm not mistaken, he should be maybe the number 4 wide receiver because you got Dylan Bell, Noah Thomas, and Zachariah Branch, okay? And 2 of the starters are transfers from other colleges. So, and then their tight ends, Oscar Delp is 6'5". I mean, he's well developed. I believe that the Georgia Bulldogs got a formula to regroup, and with the nasty season they had last year with injuries and everything else, I got a feeling they're gonna go all out this year and make a lot of noise in the SEC. Moving on to my number 1, Oregon. How can we disrespect Dan Lanning, the head coach of the Oregon Ducks? How can we? And he has the same staff since 2023, and man, they've been fighting. Oregon Ducks fight, and no matter who is on the roster, they always come to play. And yet we're going to doubt them. You're going to rank them number 7. Look, according to their schedule and everything else, they could also be entitled to not only defending the Big Ten championship, but close enough to be a 3-way between Oregon, Michigan, and Penn State. But other than that, quarterback Dante Moore will be the starting quarterback. He was there last year, but the year before he was with UCLA. And while was he in UCLA, he was sacked 25 times in that season. What does that tell you? The offensive line wasn't protecting him. And yeah, he threw a lot of interceptions. Now you're going to step up your A game to Oregon, which their offensive line is elite, okay? A lot of protection, plenty of time to throw the ball. I do got a feeling that Oregon will not miss a step on this one, and they're going to be very, very hard to defeat. Just throwing it out there real quick, all right? So, basing out the top 10 that you see right there, I got to disagree, man. Where's Ole Miss? Where's Florida State, Missouri, Michigan? Look, Florida State went on a transfer portal, same way that Colorado did, okay? They're running up the table, and they have a defensive coordinator, which is a former head coach, okay? I think Florida State is in the best shape right now, and I could see them contending for the ACC. They're not going to be losing like they did last year. As far as, Michigan, no one's talking about Michigan. I'll be surprised if Michigan at least finishes in the top 5, but I do guarantee Michigan's going to the playoffs. Let's move on to second down. Now, here's my prediction on the conference championship, and I am predicting Michigan versus Oregon. That's right, Michigan versus Oregon. Yeah, I know big ups to Penn State and everything else, but there's going to be somehow an upset throughout the week. But I got a feeling with defense wins championships. And if there's any team that has a solid defense, no disrespect to anybody, but I'm going to have to root for the Michigan Wolverines, okay? Yeah, I know. A lot of investigations, not here, there. What are you talking about? Just watch out for Michigan this year, all right? And for Oregon, I already state my case on that. We're moving on to the next. The SEC. Georgia versus Alabama. What? Come on, man. Texas got this, right? No, Texas doesn't have it. They don't have an answer to the actual teams like Georgia, okay? They lost last year. Let's face it. A banged up Georgia went to Texas and went to town. That's what happened, okay? And now being that Georgia regrouped and everything else, I'm sorry to say, Texas Longhorns have no answer with the Georgia defense. The only way Georgia falls if the offensive falls, if they continuously drop passes like they did last year. And I don't think that will be the answer. And as far as Alabama, look, their head coach always comes strong in the second season, no matter which team he's in, okay? Therefore, I do predict in the SEC championship, we will see another repeat of Georgia versus Alabama. Moving on to the ACC, I have Clemson and Miami. Miami, yes. You out there, that former starting quarterback from Georgia, Beck? Yes, that's the man. He will definitely be the starting quarterback, much healthy, but I got to give respect to Clemson. I could see both of these teams tangling on for the ACC championship. And yeah, I know North Carolina has Bill Belichick and a transfer portal, but it's always hard and challenging to transition from the NFL to college football. But I got to give mad respects to Clemson and Miami, stepping up their game and their staff. They got a new defensive coordinator. I do believe that Miami will focus more on defense than trying to run up the score. All right, the Big 12. No one's talking about the Big 12. I am. And I'm predicting Arizona, not Arizona State, Arizona versus Texas Tech. Book it. I guarantee those two will be going in to the Big 12 Conference Championship. And basically, one team only may go ahead once again and clinch their way into the college football playoffs. We're moving on to third down. Week 1 is going to be a blast. There's going to be plenty of games to watch, and everyone's probably going to debate which team is better to see. But in my opinion, I got to see Texas at Ohio State for the first time in a long time, probably. A number 1 versus number 2. It could be the first time that it's happening for week 1 itself. But Texas and Ohio State, which I disagree Ohio State being in the top 2, but that's okay. That's why they play the game. And maybe that's why I have that number 6 or below come after this game, because I do favor Texas defeating Ohio State. And Notre Dame versus Miami. This is going to be awesome because Notre Dame hangover for the from the finals last year, and Miami is trying to get back into place. And Miami probably have this in their calendar and saying, this is the team. We're going to start with Notre Dame. Book it. Miami wins by a field goal in this one. Going to week 2, Michigan at Oklahoma, Kansas at Missouri. Week 3, Georgia versus Tennessee. That's going to be a rivalry. Can't wait for that to happen. And Florida at LSU. Oh, man, that's going to be an awesome game. And week 4, Illinois at Indiana. Both these teams would rise to the top last year. Indiana made some noise, but man, terrible noise because their last game in the playoffs, not so well. Kind of proved to the committee that they didn't really deserve to be in the playoffs. Let's leave it like that. However, that's going to be an awesome game to watch. And of course, Florida again, a rivalry between Florida and Miami. This is going to be pretty interesting. Fourth down, here we go. Oh, I love this part because it's the ending of the show, right? So both the rankings of mine and the coaches poll highlight the elite programs like Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Alabama. But the difference revealed contrasts the views of potential performances, right? Not only that, but look, you're looking at the NIL deals that's going on. Who's going to favor what? Who's spending most money, right? You're talking about pretty much the most talented players going on which teams, right? And let's not forget, people like to forget about knowing the coaches. Coaches has a major factor in all this. So what if you got the talent, but if you don't have the coach to really discipline them and put them in the right direction, what kind of team do you have? Okay? My rankings are far more than rising teams like Missouri, Ole Miss, and Florida State. While coaches poll, they stick closer to the traditional powerhouses, right? Politics, I guess. I don't know. However, the teams that the coaches poll were left off and compared to mine, look, you got to give respect to Kentucky, Wisconsin, Arizona for the whole entire top 25. But it is what it is. In the end, both polls reflect different philosophies. Mine is upside down pretty much, but hey, that's why they play the game. And once they handle their business and the kickoff gets near, one thing is certain, that the field will settle the debate. And that's all you can do. Just watch and see who's right, who's wrong. And the closer we get to November, the more the picture gets clearer and clearer as we get close to the college football playoffs. Thank you for watching the All Four Downs podcast. And once again, tune in every week. Once the season starts, man, we're going to go rock solid, play by play, down by down, and everything else. And I can't wait and see who else is my co-host on the show as we predict each week for which teams you could score some big money on your bets. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching All Four